everyone. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of top HR leaders? Welcome back to We Talk Talent Season 5, the show where we crack the code on shaping tomorrow's workforce. Today, we are stepping into the powerhouse of Sterlite Power, and who better to guide us than Ruhie Pande, the trailblazing CHRO and Head of Marketing and Communications. Buckle up, everyone, because Ruhie is about to share her game-changing insights on talent management. But before we dive in, let's give her a warm We Talk Talent welcome. Hi, Ruhie.
Hi, very happy to be here, Soumya. Look forward to the chat.
Thank you, and so am I. And before we start off with our conversation, a bit of an intro that I have worked for you. I'm going to share it with my viewers.
Sure.
So everyone, Ruhie brings over 2 decades of experience in diverse industries, including financial services, real estate, fashion retail, information technology, and FMCG. Known for her empathetic leadership style, Ruhie has successfully established high-performance cultures and played pivotal roles in organizations like Godrej Capital, where she spearheaded the talent acquisition and contributed to its reputation as a top-tier financial institution. A respected figure in HR and leadership circles, Ruhie actively mentors young women leaders and participates in various industry forums. So, Ruhie, welcome once again, and it is such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Soumya. Look forward to our chat.
Great. So let's start with the first question. I'm sure that the viewers would love to hear from you. Ruhie, you represent a very different industry and you've seen the best of the both worlds, or I would say the more of the both worlds. So how do you see that your industry is tackling the challenges that workplace has gone by in these couple of years? If you could just set a brief overview, that'll be very helpful.
So I represent the power sector, and like you were introducing me, I've been a part of multiple sectors. What I genuinely see in the power sector, Soumya, is a definitive dearth of entry-level talent. So for sure, there is a need for us to get more and more people, one, aware of the sector, the amazing roles which, youngsters from IITs, other engineering colleges can come in and play in the sector. We need to articulate and showcase to them the significant amount of growth and tailwinds this industry is going to be having over the next few years, looking at our government's thrust on clean renewable energy, looking at the number of tenders the government is floating for our infrastructure projects. This industry is going to create some amazing careers. But when we go out in the market and look for engineering students, I genuinely don't see that level of interest as would be probably in a IT industry or any other established industry. So I think there is a need for us to work with the academia to curate some courses, to have the industry bodies more and more be present in colleges, to run case study simulations where more and more students can come and participate. And I think going ahead, this entire industry, which has been fairly traditional, will see a lot of changes, will see a lot of careers being made. And I think that's the entire exciting part. But currently, I see a lot of competition from other industries, and there is a very strong need for the power sector to attract young talent to this industry, which I think over the next few years, you will see a lot more of.
Absolutely. I think, Ruhie, thank you for putting it out so beautifully for us in such a transparent way. I think we all agree to that, that the power sector is not one of those sectors that everybody's really looking at as compared to the others, maybe the IT and so on. And that really helps me to kind of move to the second one, Ruhie, because your industry, like you mentioned, has a very different, demand and probably the skills that you're looking at. So if I could just ask you that, what type of skills shortage do you think is causing the talent war in your particular industry? So that'll be great.
Yeah, so see, the company I represent has a very large renewable arm where we are basically working with technologies like the solar and wind. Now, oftentimes when we go out to recruit, there is a genuine paucity of talent in both these fields. So whether you're going out to get solar specialists, whether you're going out to get wind specialists, you often have to hire laterally, which is a bit of a shame because ideally in our organization, we like to hire people at entry level and then curate career paths so that they can rise up the ranks. The second thing which we genuinely see kind of a dearth of when we go out in the market is project management capabilities. So in our infrastructure business, we need a lot of project managers. Now, project managers need to bring with themselves the skill of managing stakeholders, managing right of way, ROW is what it's called. They will be working with multiple stakeholders, government bodies, local bodies like the Gram Panchayats, people on the ground, various communities. So how is the stakeholder management done? We don't have ready-made talent when we go out in the market to get this. So project management capabilities, capabilities in solar, capabilities in wind, capabilities in renewable energy. I think all these are genuinely in shortfall. So what we genuinely need is maybe programs which can gear up people for skills like these. Parallelly, I think soft skills like I said, stakeholder management, soft skills like empathy, soft skills like leadership also are in ample shortage. So what we often need to do is hire a lot of people laterally. But my vision would be, Soumya, that if we could create some programs which specifically deals with this skill shortage, then we go pick up youngsters from the college and come bring them over to our organization and curate programs where they come in at the entry level and then rise to take on leadership roles across the organization. So those are some of the skill shortages we face.
I mean, that's a very stellar vision you have, Ruhie. As a brand, I think that takes a lot of courage to put it out, because maybe we are pretty much caught up in a build versus buy paradox at the moment, and a lot of organizations are grappling with it. But this sounds very, very, I would say, progressive, futuristic. So thank you for sharing that with the audience. And in that vision, I think, Ruhie, when we talk about something which is so concrete, your employer branding also comes as a big tool to kind of, maybe let's say just vanquish the horizons in that case. So if you could just bring up and, share some light on your employer branding strategy and how it has seen its shift in the years, if I would say, in the past few years, that'll be very, very good.
Absolutely. I think employer branding plays a very integral part in ensuring that you attract the right talent. In fact, on a lot of occasions, when I interview people these days, they tell me that they've already seen my LinkedIn, they've seen the blogs which I might have written. When people go for interviews with various people, the first thing they do is check on what that person's LinkedIn profile is, because especially, Generation Z, millennials, it's not just important for them, the company which they work in, but it's equally important to them who are the people they're going to be spending a disproportionate time during the course of the day with. So what we try to do using our employer branding mechanisms is 3-4 things. First is representing the organization to people at large. Like I said, there is if I compare this to the other few industries I might have worked with, there is a genuine hesitation in people to actively go and pursue roles in the power sector. And this sector has tailwinds. It will be one of the most progressive sectors of the economy in the years to come. So there are immense amount of career opportunities here. So what we try to communicate to our people is the kind of organization we are, our values, our ethos, our purpose. So our purpose of our organization is beautiful. It's empowering humanity by solving the toughest challenges of clean energy delivery. So we try to communicate this with our people, saying this is the kind of culture you can expect when you come and join us at Sterlite Power. The second thing which we try to do a lot of is making our hiring managers brand ambassadors. So we get them to actively post jobs. We get them to actively post about what they have been up to. So, more and more passive job seekers also out there see these posts by them, see what the organization is all about, see who are the people they're going to be working with. The third thing is it's very important for us, Soumya, not just to attract talent, but to attract the talent which has the right culture fit. So communicating a lot to them about our efforts, what's happening in the organization. Recently, we went through the Women's Day where we took a lot of initiatives. So communicating on a daily basis what's been happening in the organization, I think really makes a huge impact. So in a nutshell, sharing your values, sharing your culture, making your hiring managers your brand ambassadors, and communicating to people what a day in the life of working at Sterlite Power would be. I think holistically put together, these would be our employer branding efforts, which we've been working on.
Fantastic. I think this really had me like what a day would you would feel like, spending. How does it look like? I think very few organizations have that vision and they're willing to go out and about.
Yes.
So that's very encouraging to know, Ruhi, and kudos to you and the team at Sterlite Power for driving such things. But that also kind of brings me, we've talked about the employer branding part, we're talking about the EVP. That also kind of circumscribes around the DEI part
Sure.
because any organization which is on that path would definitely like to talk and spotlight the DEI agenda. So if I could just, ask you that if you could share some threads of your DEI policy, that'll be like a great value add for us.
No, absolutely. I think all organizations have to have a very clear DEI roadmap, and it's a very integral part of the overall HR strategy for any organization. I think there's enough research out there which has shown that organizations which are more diverse, which are more inclusive, have higher innovation, have higher stakeholder returns, and we are no different. So, what we have tried to do a lot of, and I'll speak about two, three key initiatives here. One
Yeah.
is an initiative which we took at our manufacturing setup. So what we did there is we tried to get women on our shop floor. Now there were women present in back end roles. There were women present in roles in R&D. But what we actively tried to do is get a lot of women to actually operate machinery on the shop floor. And over the last 2-3 years, we've hired about 450 women who are a part of our factories, who are working actively on a daily basis. I had gone over to one of the factories, I interacted with them. We hired fresh graduates from ITIs. We needed to ensure that we give them pick up and drop facility. We needed to ensure we have the right equity in the factories by ensuring we had creches, we had nursing facilities, we had all facilities which will ensure that they are safe and they are given a good environment to learn and grow. We train them as they come in. And whenever you talk to them, there's a lot of pride in their work. They tell me that they come from small places and their families are now very proud of the fact that they work with Sterlite on the shop floor. How do you give these people growth? How do you ensure that their environment is secure is very critical. That's number one. Number two, I think, which we will be endeavoring to do, I don't think we've kind of come all the way, is have more and more women in the leadership. So what we aim to do is over the next couple of years, identifying a bunch of bright young women who can rise up the ranks, launching a very specialized learning and development program for them so that we are able to identify them, grow them within the company so they can go on to taking leadership roles across the organization. That's number two. Number three, to try and see how we can get women in areas where they're not very represented. So how do we get some women in our projects team? How do we get more women in teams where it's traditionally more difficult to attract women? Our chief legal officer is a woman, which we are very proud of. So how do we create more and more examples? And last but not the least, to get the dialogue around inclusivity running in the organization, which we've already started. So whether it's getting our leaders to talk about diversity, whether it's getting our managers to consciously reach out and support women across the organization to get the entire, like I said, conversation around inclusivity running, that's also something which we have embarked upon. So diversity, the just getting the enough representation, like we said, at the shop floor in unrepresented areas, to get enough of equity running, right policies, right benefits for women, and last but not the least, getting this entire dialogue running around how do we make Sterlite Power an amazing place for women to work with, which is all about inclusivity. So I would say all this three-pronged approach of DEI is what we are planning to do.
And I think it sounds like a great investment approach, Ruhi.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful to know. And it's absolutely path breaking because a very few organizations are doing so much, I would say, and they are headed to the right direction. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with the viewers. It also kind of, segues me into the next part of the conversation. We've talked about that it is a very different sector. the kind of skills that you require, and how does the hiring moves on. That also kind of brings me to this question that could you share some of, or maybe if I could say like the top of the line, prominent challenges that you face in the TA space, and maybe some strategies that you've used to overcome? That'll be good for us.
So I think in TA, we have had to tailor make a lot of our offerings with the role. So for every role, when we go out into the market, we try and see, what should be the right strategy to get that role holder on board. So which also means sometimes going outside the power sector and hiring. So there could be roles where you would say that I need power sector expertise, and there could be roles where you would say I would like to hire from outside. One of the key challenges which we face in hiring is slight bit of lack of gender diversity across most roles.
Yeah.
So power sector traditionally has been a very male dominated sector. And our vision is to ensure that we hire women across all roles. But very often than not, we see that women are unrepresented in that role completely in the market. So that's challenge number one. Challenge number two is how do you get people with the right amount of integrity? Because people move across organizations also a lot. So doing the right reference checking, doing the right background verification, because in this industry, integrity is supreme. So what are you hiring for? Are you hiring for the right integrity? Are you hiring people with the right set of values? Third would be to get the right values and culture fit. You may get people across various segments, and it's a little, this entire sector is a little disorganized. So organized players are far and few. So when you're getting a candidate on board, we always test them for culture fit. So we have a set of 4 very key and firm values across the organization: fun, social impact, innovation, and respect for each other. So the candidate which we are absorbing in the organization, does he or she have the right leadership skills? Will he or she be a good cultural fit? So how do we ensure that we get the right cultural fit? And last but not the least, like I said, the build versus buy. I still believe that we need to take the buy down a little bit and spend disproportionate amount of time, which we are planning to do, on building talent. So going across to the IITs of the world or other engineering colleges and getting a bunch of bright young talent who could be groomed for taking on leadership roles in the future. I think that is a little lacking. So all those are challenges. And for each, like I said, we are deploying certain strategies.
Absolutely. I think, Ruhie, you and the brand believes in taking people at the early stages and kind of evolving them and prompting them to be the leaders. I think you kind of shared this in every question, and that is pretty much the ethos at Sterlite Power. So that's just fantastic to know. And good to know that you've taken a side that it's more of a build right now versus buy.
Yes.
That shows a lot of your investment, a lot of your courage towards building the right resources. So that sounds very, very wholesome, I would say.
No, absolutely, Soumya. And the last piece, which also I want to say, is that we genuinely want to focus on ensuring that our internal talent gets the first choice at any new role which comes out. I wouldn't say we're all the way there, but we're deploying a set of strategies to ensure that whenever there is a role which comes up, we look at an internal talent, because there is ample research out there which says that a 70% ready internal talent has a higher chance of success than a 90% ready talent from outside in the market. Right. So getting talent in at the entry level, ensuring that your choices of roles go first to your internal talent, having almost like 100% mobility, these would be a few key areas where we would be focusing on going ahead.
And that speaks volumes about your culture, or I would say the very effervescent culture that you're already there with, and probably that you're making it better, Ruhie. That's just amazing to know. And that also kind of brings me to one of the most burning questions. I think the HR fraternity right now is talking about it, that 2024 is going to be the year of the Zoomers. The baby boomers are on their way out and the Zoomers are coming in. So this is pretty much like a watershed movement that we're going to see as a fraternity together. So that actually, pushes me to this question for you, that what is going to be your take on the new generation, or the Gen Z as we call them, coming into the workforce, and how do their expectations differ from those of the previous generations. And who better than you, because you're sitting in that side of the industry that actually has like a balance now.
Yes.
So absolutely, we would
Yes.
love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, so again, traditionally, very traditional industry. So average age of people is higher here. You have a lot of people with multiple years of experience sitting in, and then you have the Generation Z coming in. Generation Z, I think there are 2, 3 key things to keep in mind about them. One, they come to office every day to contribute, not to work. So I've seen that having a larger than life purpose, which is what I was just kind of narrating to you, which we have, it totally resonates with them. And every time I have spoken to our GTs, our Generation Z about our overall purpose, overarching purpose, it really resonates with them. Secondly, they like to be empowered. So instead of micromanaging them, if you can give them like a very clear task or a job which has some very specified KRAs, they would be the first people to run with it and ensure that they complete it. And, to that extent, we have a total muster-free culture. We don't come in and swipe, and there is no linkage of your compensation or anything to your swiping. So it's a fully trust-based organization.
Wow.
You come in every day to work. You don't want to come in, you message your boss, and it's totally trust-based. They really thrive in this environment. If you tell them that you need to come in and swipe, your payroll will be linked to that, they kind of just don't agree with it. So empowered jobs. Third is careers. You need to showcase to them how they are going to grow here. Job rotation. So how can they get exposed to various skills? And that in coordination with what I was just narrating to you some time back, that we want to ensure that our internal talent gets the first option at any new job which comes up. If you're able to give that opportunity of variety to Generation Z, they would really be very happy with it. So job rotations, empowered jobs, flexibility, a larger than life purpose. I think if these few things are up and running for the organization, you're absolutely ready to take on the Gen Zs.
That's pretty much like all the ingredients of the secret sauce that Ruhie just let it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Ruhie, that sounds very, very wholesome, and that sounds very positive, if I could say, because a lot of leaders are still trying to do a 2+2 on this, that what is something that's going to work out. So thank you. Thank you so much for putting this out. And Ruhie, this has been a fantastic chat with you. I think we just swayed into it, and this was just one after the other. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Soumya. Love chatting with you, and always a pleasure talking to you at any point of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So yes, for my viewers, this is a lovely interaction. I hope you found this conversation as enriching as we did. And do remember that the journey of talent management is a continuous learning process. Join us again in the next episode of the We Talk Talent series as we explore new perspectives on building and nurturing your workforce. Until then, take care and thank you so much.